Well, there is no shortage of cranes across the city of Toronto's skyline, and for a time it seemed that there was never a bad time to build around here.
But that might not be the case anymore. At least one industry observer suggests some developers might not be so quick to get shovels into the ground. So for more on that, we're joined live now by Sean Hildebrand, president of Urban Nation. Sean, welcome to the show. Thanks for joining us. So this really seems to be an issue with the Bank of Canada having raised their rates 125 basis points in the past 4 months, and that's making the cost of construction loans more expensive, correct?
Yeah, that's part of the story. I think we all know that there's been a construction boom underway in Toronto for some time. We now have 87,000 units under construction. We have another 33,000 units that are in pre-construction. So there's a development pipeline of about 120,000 units. And with that growth, it has put considerable strain on labor and also resources. And this is pushing up material costs as well. And this is just being exacerbated by, supply chain issues caused by the pandemic, the war in the Ukraine. And it's contributing to very, very strong increases in costs. And to the point now where construction costs for condos are up by more than 20% year over year. They're growing much faster than prices. And now some projects, unfortunately, are in a position where they may no longer be economically feasible to proceed.
And Sean, when you talk about that, we already know, we talk to a lot of people about real estate, here on CB24. And one thing we keep hearing time and time again is there's not enough supply. There's not enough supply. Demand is so high. So if we're getting to a point where potentially, I noticed in this one article from the Globe, 5,000 units may not be built because of the situation with the expenses here, that only just exacerbates, to use that word again, the problem of a low amount of supply, doesn't it?
Oh, for sure. Yeah. And it's not just the 5,000 units that are already in the market that could cancel. It's all of the projects that should have launched into the marketplace over the next little while that are no longer going to be entering into the market. So that puts the supply squeeze not only today, but years down the line when these projects ultimately get delivered. It's unfortunate because, costs are rising very quickly at a time when, as we know, prices are starting to soften. And this is all on top of very strong cost increases that are coming from the city itself. Development charge increases are being proposed at over 40%. There's parkland fees that are rising, and the inclusion of affordable housing into developments is making it more costly to build as well. So, yeah, this is happening at a time when we're expecting to see record levels of immigration coming into Canada over the next few years, and the highest percentage of new immigrants ultimately land in the GTA. So, yeah, demand and supply, I think, will be moving in opposite directions as we move through the next few years.
Sean, can you talk about what happens when a developer decides to cancel some of these units?
Yeah, so the purchasers who put down their deposit will ultimately get their deposit back. And usually within the purchase and sale agreement, there is a clause that allows the development to cancel if they're unable to get favorable financing or any financing. And if they can't get financing, they ultimately can't start construction. So that would cancel the project. So unfortunately, it could be years between when that deposit is paid and when they actually get their money back. And in the interim, prices could have escalated quite a bit, which unfortunately they're not usually able to get that appreciation from that deposit, which in some cases shuts the purchasers out of the market.
So, Sean, we've only got about 30 seconds left, but is there any sort of good news or is there any sort of fix on the horizon to this? Because so much is really out of the control of the developers, the people building these homes and condos.
Yeah, I think, when we talk about 5,000 units that could potentially cancel, it's less than 5% of the 120,000 units that are under construction. There's still a lot of supply underway that will be coming into the market over the next 5 years. Like I said, we've been going through a condo boom, and there's going to be lasting effects from that. So there will be more supply. It's just there's going to be some collateral damage because of how high and how fast costs have been increasing.
Okay, Sean Hildebrand, the president of Urban Nation. Great to get your perspective on this situation here in the city today. Thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you.